The Pope is a dope. Now, many of you are going to remember this story here. It says Pope Francis assures atheists you don't have to believe in God to go to heaven. This was kind of a big deal when this first came out, made worldwide news. But recently another story just developed around the Pope that connects with this, and I want to show you that as well. But let me also just explain a few things here. This is the Pope's role. This is what he's supposed to be doing right now. Do you see? It's not just this connection with the atheists. That's all a part of it. But it really is a dismantling of the old ways, okay? And it's going to be opening the window up to a whole new way, which is going to be this Antichrist system, the New World Order, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, but this is what's on the way. So you see, if you take a look here at the Bible ages, you got 1, 2, 3, third's the Mosaic age, you got fourth is the Christian Messianic age. Now this is where you'll hear me talking in a lot of my videos about the fifth age, or the age of Aquarius, okay, or the time of the Antichrist. Right here is a band called the Fifth Dimension. Their song was the Age of Aquarius, and the chorus was Let the Sunshine In. Now with the sunshine, we're dealing with the sun worshippers. This goes back to the Masons. You can even make the connections with the Illuminati. Ultimately, it's all about Luciferianism. It's about worship of the sun worship. The fifth age is going to be the time of the dragon. There's a long and strange history with a lot of these popes, but more specifically the ones we've seen in the last generation or so. You may remember Ratzinger, who was the last pope, and of course he had these Nazi ties as a kid. But whenever I think of Ratzinger, I always think back to this particular video. You may not have seen this, but you got to check it out. First and foremost, just look at the way it starts off. I mean, this is the New World Order church we're looking at here, okay, in a lot of ways. This is at the Vatican, and this was during a Christmas celebration several years back. And this is the way that Ratzinger and his people chose to celebrate Christ's birthday. Now, of course, I'm well aware that Christmas is a pagan holiday, but it's the whole idea, of course, perpetuated by the churches that, Christmas is Christ's birthday. This is typically how most Christians will view this. And this right here happened at the Vatican. You've got to take a look at this. Look at how Pope Ratzinger decided to celebrate the birth of Christ. It's pretty amazing. And look at the nuns. You gotta love the nuns. There it is. Yep, there it is. There have also been a lot of very interesting omens surrounding the Vatican over the last few years. Here's one right here. You might remember this. That's Ratzinger right there releasing the Dove of Peace. And of course, shortly after they released the Dove of Peace, it flies right back into the building. But that wasn't the only time we had something unusual happen here with these doves of peace. So now we have Pope Francis once again with the doves of peace. And as they released them this time around, the doves were promptly attacked by some other birds of prey. This right here is actually from the night that the Vatican temple was hit by lightning. And this is right after Pope Ratzinger had offered his resignation due to all the child sex scandals that were coming out. I thought this story was really interesting about Pope Francis. Here it says he thanks exorcists for showing, quote, love to the possessed. Now, I've covered this subject a lot in the past, so many of you are well aware of this kind of black awakening. We're seeing these satanic groups come out more. We're seeing these more in the news, more satanic crime, satanic rituals. We're seeing Satanism blatantly in a lot of our pop culture now, in movies, TV shows, commercials, you name it. It's really just kind of right there in your face. You also look back to all the recent kind of so-called cannibal attacks or zombie attacks, the people kind of going crazy out there and attacking other people, acting like animals, grunting, taking their clothes off. The media tells us this is bath salts. I've done some videos on this in the past. I believe it's just another example of demonic possession. This story came out right around Halloween. It says Rome, just in time for Halloween, and against an unspecified steady increase of demonic possession, Pope Francis thanked exorcists for showing the church's, quote, love for those possessed by the devil. Now, about 300 exorcists from around the world attended that convention in Rome, and their spokesman later expressed concern about the number of people turning to Satanism and the occult. To me, this is a prime example of where many of the people involved in this beast system, this Illuminati system, whatever term you want to put on it, you know, these are witches, these are warlocks essentially, and there's lesser magic involved here. They have to kind of tell us what they're going to do before they do it sometimes, and I believe that, like in this case right here, they are also required to tell us the truth about such things. And there's no denying that we're seeing this rise in Satanism, this rise in the occult, and this rise in wickedness in general. Now this right here is a classic example to me of cognitive dissonance, or doublethink. And here we see Pope Francis encouraging reconciliation between evolution and creationism. Pope Francis recently said, "When we read about creation in Genesis, we run the risk of imagining God as a magician, with a magic wand able to do everything. But that is not so," he says. These words were spoken in reference to the controversy brewing over the theory of evolution and other scientific theories supposedly clashing with accepted religious tenets. So now here's one that's more kind of on the spiritual tip, and this is from, it's been a few years ago now, but Pope Francis had taken a trip to Korea, and during this trip he had announced his own imminent death in the next 2 or 3 years. But it wasn't so much about the announcement, it was more about this picture right here. This is from that trip. I thought it was interesting that during this trip where he announces his own death, he's on this podium here, and behind him is this strange looking kind of statue, of course, with a man, it looks like a man's face, with one of his eyes darkened out. Now this goes back, of course, to all the Illuminati mythology that a lot of us research and pick up on. The whole idea, of course, of the Antichrist having one eye, the all-seeing eye. I just thought it was very interesting that we find the symbol of the Antichrist behind this false prophet during his meeting in Korea. Pope Francis rents out Sistine Chapel for an exclusive $7,200 per head Porsche party. When I think of the Pope, I don't see a kindly old man wearing all white. I think of this. They're constantly telling us what's going on. They're constantly putting it right out there in your face, but so few people can see this stuff. Right here on the cover of Time magazine, they're talking about the New World Pope. Do you get it? This is the New World Order Pope. This will be the Pope that helps to usher in the New World Order, the Fifth Age, the Age of Aquarius, the time of the Antichrist. This is why you see him dismantling religion in his own way. Now, I'm not giving him all the credit. He's just playing a part in all of this. But this is what's happening. Again, now, as we leave the Fourth Age and enter the Fifth Age, we're leaving a time of order. Okay, the Fourth Age is a time of order and of structure and government institutions and religions and you name it. Now, the Fifth Age is when all of that stuff has been dismantled, everything has been conjoined into one world order, one world religion, and one world leader. This Pope right here is playing his part. He's playing his role. He's helping to usher in the Fifth Age, the New World Order, the time of the Antichrist. The world loves this Pope, and that should send you running for the hills. Many of these religious leaders are wolves in sheep's clothing. Folks, like really, I mean, it just doesn't get more ridiculous than this. Check this out. One hell of a deal. Pope Francis offers reduced time in purgatory for Catholics that follow him on Twitter. Wake up! This guy is a joke. And then we have these connections as well. I mean, just look at this one. This is from back in 2004. Pope calls for a New World Order. Vatican City, Pope John Paul II rang in the new year on Thursday with the renewed call for peace in the Middle East and Africa and the creation of a New World Order based on respect for the dignity of man and equality among nations. This Pope was playing his role as well in ushering in this New World Order. And then we have this from December 10th, 2012. Vatican again calls for one world government and a new world order. The leader of the Catholic Church, Pope Benedict, has called for the establishment of world government and a new world order. Folks, again, all of these popes playing their roles, playing their part in the dismantling of the old order of religion and the new religion to come, the world religion, the one world government, the Antichrist leader. Right now we're living in a time where all of these organized religions are on one hand falling apart, and on another hand they're actually melding into each other. So Pope Francis, playing his role of course as this false prophet leading us into this one world religion, is doing his part in bringing all the religions together into one. So right here, not long ago, he had a Unity in Diversity. It was a meeting with Pope Francis and Kenneth Copeland, who is one of the biggest TV ministers out there. The world religions are all being pulled together right now as we speak. Pope Francis is playing his role. It's a pivotal role, in fact. So keep your eyes open for this, because you're going to see more and more of this coming. Hey, thanks for watching.